I really love cycling, but some things drive me crazy. Hi, I'm John and welcome to Cycling on a Shoestring. And today we're going to go through a top 10 list in no particular order. But these are things that drive me crazy while I'm cycling. It's not about cycling, but it's about things that happen when I'm out on the road. And some of these may ring a bell with you as well. I was just sitting back this morning having my cup of coffee. If you don't mind, you can just have a little sip here. And I thought it would be fun to put together this list. And I would really like your comments below. And maybe you can add to the list, because I'm sure if I thought about it a little bit longer, I put this together real fast, top of the mind stuff, I could come up with probably 10 or 20 more things that drive me crazy while cycling. So let's get into this. Let's start off with number 1. Number 1 on the list, these things. Earbuds. So many people are out there walking or riding and they've got these things stuffed in their ears, oblivious to the world. Now there's a whole argument we can have whether you should be wearing something like this blaring in your ear while you're riding your bike, particularly on the road. But when I'm out riding my bike on a bike path and I have to ring a bell to let you know I'm passing and you've got these in your ear, you can't hear a thing. And then more often than not, the person will yell at me because they got scared when I passed them on the pathway. Even worse are these noise-canceling headphones. You can't hear anything and they block out the sound. As a matter of fact, when I vacuum my house, I wear these. I can't hear the vacuum roaring 4 feet away. So be careful out there and realize that people are coming up behind you and you're a little bit of an annoyance when you're out there on a pathway. Number 2, now here's a contentious issue. When I see young people riding e-bikes, e-bikes are everywhere. I would say at times 50% of the bikes I pass now when I'm out riding around the city are people riding e-bikes. And I think they have a place for people who are elderly or people who have a physical disability. But I think kids should be riding bikes, not e-bikes. We're not encouraging children to ride bicycles. We're encouraging them to take the easy way out. And I guess we could put a nod on the parents as well who are buying their kids e-bikes. Go buy them a regular bicycle. It drives me crazy when I see so many kids riding e-bikes while I'm out riding. Number 3 on the list, people who don't acknowledge you're about to pass. So here's the scenario. You're riding your bicycle, you come up behind somebody on a bike path, you ring your bell, and the person doesn't move. They don't flinch. They don't step to the side. They don't raise their hand. You don't know if they've heard your bell. So you ring it again, and you ring it again, and you ring it again. And then you pass them, probably too close because they're walking in the middle of the bike path, and they yell at you because they didn't acknowledge the pass, or they're wearing earbuds and they can't hear you. Whenever somebody raises their hand and steps to the side after I ring my bell, every time I go by, I say thank you. Number 4 on my list, retractable or extendable dog leashes. I hate those things. Now here in Calgary, we have dog walk parks where you can let your dog run free. But if you're on a bike path, you have to have them on a leash. And people who have dogs that are well behaved may have a 4 or 5 foot leash and they walk beside them. But no, most people have 30, 40 foot leashes where you can reel your dog in. And I'm riding along on my bike and there's the owner on the right side of the pathway, the dog on the left side of the pathway, and right in between there's a dog leash. And I have to brake and they have to reel their dog in. Drives me nuts. Last year, I ran over a guy's dog. He was walking with his dog on an extendable leash to the right of the pathway. I saw him, so I slowed down and went to the left, and as I got just close to him, his dog ran right in front of me. I ended up on the grass and rolled right over his dog. And I hope his dog was all right. But then he starts yelling at me. I was going too fast and he didn't hear me coming. I rang my bell 15 times. He didn't hear me coming because he was wearing these earbuds. I hate extendable dog leashes. Just hate them. Number 5 on this list, people who like to stop and chat on the pathway. You've got one couple out for a Sunday stroll. Another couple out for a Sunday stroll. They know each other. They meet up on the pathway. So the best place to talk is right on the pathway in front of you. And as you roll up to them, they're just oblivious to the world. You ring your bell and they're oblivious to the world. You ring your bell again, they're oblivious to the world, and then you ring, roll up to them, and then they start yelling at you for being in too much of a hurry. To which I say, you know, you've got the whole world to have a chat and you had to stop right here? Number 6 on the list, e-scooters. I know I've mentioned e-bikes a little bit earlier in this video, but e-scooters are everywhere. And here in Calgary, you can rent them so you can get from place to place, and people do. And people don't know what the hell they're doing when they're on them. And they get in the way when you're out riding your bike. I call them the locusts of the pathway, because normally when you're coming up on one of these and they're coming towards you, the person's doing this and they don't look very steady. And I keep thinking when I'm going by that one of these days somebody's going to take me right out. Even worse, what happens to the e-scooters when they're done with them? Very often you'll find them thrown across pathways, out into the grass, and I actually had to call the city last year because I went under a bike path in the middle of the night when it was dark, and they were all laid across the bike path. Luckily, I could see one and I didn't get killed. I hate e-scooters. Number 7 on the list, you probably have distracted driving laws where you live. We have them here in Alberta, meaning if a cop catches you using your phone while you're driving your car, you can get a ticket, and it can be quite expensive. We need that for bikes. I'm not sure if the law actually exists, but we need it for bikes as well, because I don't know how many times I've almost been taken out by somebody riding their bicycle staring at their phone. I was in a blind corner last year, and a guy on an e-bike almost wiped me out because he was staring at his phone while he was riding his bike. And to add into that, people who are walking and looking at their phone on a beautiful sunny day. They're out walking and generally they like to drift into your lane as you're riding by. And I often think, you know, it's such a beautiful day. The earth is remarkable. The nature is fantastic. The birds are tweeting. The trees are green. Why are you staring at your phone? Number 8 on this list, dog excrement on pathways. We've had a bit of snow this year, and then it melted, and then it snowed again, and then it's melted. And what happens is people seem to think that the bike paths around the city are for their dog to relieve themselves, and there is dog poop everywhere, and I'm riding around it constantly. This just isn't a problem in the wintertime. People do this during the summertime as well. It's disgusting, and people need to be more responsible. As a matter of fact, they're supposed to clean up after their animal if this is done, even if it's on the grass. But I see this everywhere, and it really becomes noticeable when spring comes, because all of that poop that was frozen all winter is now starting to melt, and it smells disgusting. Number 9 on the list, a serious one, people who flaunt the traffic rules while they're riding their bike. And this makes all cyclists look bad. You might be out riding and you run stop signs or stoplights, or you make improper turns, ride on the wrong side of the road. And motorists and pedestrians see this and think we're all the same. And people get really upset when they're riding their cars and they see cyclists now, and it can be very dangerous because in the battle of the car and the cyclist, if a car wants to take a cyclist out, very simple for them to do that. So obey the rules of the road. It's the law. We're up to number 10. And this may be a personal thing, but you may experience this as well. It's motorists who change the rules of the road because you're riding a bicycle. So let me explain a situation that happens to me all the time, not too far from where I live. There's a 2-lane road where I have a stop. I pull up and stop. In front of me, crossing in this direction, there's a 4-lane road, 2 lanes in each direction. They have the right of way. As I pull up to the stop to wait for traffic to clear so I can safely cross the street, people decide they want to stop and allow me to pass. I know they're just trying to be polite, but I'd rather they just keep on going. Because here's what happens. If a big truck pulls up in one lane and stops and waves me through and I start driving, I can't see cars coming in the other lane, and they may drive right through and run me down. Also, by stopping for me, generally I wave, go, and they wave at me, go, and I wave, go, and we're wasting so much time, we both could have already gone by now. I just want to be treated like other vehicles on the road. That's what the Highway Traffic Act says. I'm riding a bicycle, I have to follow the rules of the road. So motorists, I like the fact that you want to treat me with respect and you're trying to be polite, but I just want to be treated like any other vehicle out there on the road. So that's it, the top 10 things I hate while cycling. Do you have any? Put them in the comments below and maybe I'll do another list in the near future. Thanks very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. See you next time on Cycling on a Shoestring.